I find that stir fries are the easiest way to get your vegetables in. Stir fries are very fast to make, and you'll probably spend more time prepping all the ingredients than actually cooking them. Today I'm at my sister's house, so don't mind the different setup. She has a pantry full of ingredients, so the options are endless. We're gonna make a broccoli stir fry today, and it's great for meal prepping. First, I have 2 crowns of broccoli, 2 red onions, some garlic, and a handful of cremini mushrooms. I haven't washed any of the vegetables yet, so I'll grab a colander and I'll cut up the broccoli first. I like to put the broccoli crown upside down and then start to cut around the large stem. If you don't like to waste food, save the stem. You can use it in many other dishes. I personally like to dice up the stem and saute them in the morning when I have breakfast. I'll chop the crowns into smaller chunks and I'll throw them in the colander to wash them. I'll finish cutting up the rest of this broccoli, and then we'll wash the broccoli and the mushrooms. Wash with cold water, and I'll try to scrape off the dirt from the mushrooms. I'll cut the mushrooms into chunks, pop off the stem on the bigger ones. For the smaller mushrooms, I'll cut them in half, and for the bigger mushrooms, I'll cut them in a similar size as the small ones. This is a stir fry, so you don't need to be perfect. You can really cut them into however you want, but I try to make all the vegetables to be a similar size. Now I'll grab a sheet pan just to hold all the vegetables. Stir fries are pretty quick, so it's best to have all the vegetables and ingredients ready. For the onions, I'm using red ones here. Use whichever ones you want, or you can even leave them out if you really want to. I'll cut the top and the bottom off, and then in half. Peel the outer layer, and I'll do the same for the last onion. I like to cut it in half horizontally, and then chop from the top to bottom into smaller chunks. And I want to try to get a similar size to the mushrooms. I'll put the onions on the sheet pan for now. I will also just throw in the broccoli on the pan as well. Last thing we need to cut is the garlic. Peel and dice a couple cloves. I'm using about 4 cloves here. And that's it for the vegetables. The only other thing that we really need is some soy sauce. Soy sauce will kind of act like as the base of the sauce. I'm using this Korean one that my sister has here, but you can really use any kind. Once we start stir frying, I'll be adding salt and some sugar. So I'll have those ready on the side as well. Cooking the stir fry is a very fast process, so make sure that you have all the ingredients ready on the side. We'll be using a wok. This is a non-stick wok here. We'll let the wok preheat on medium-high heat. You can tell how hot it is by hovering your hand over the wok. Once you feel the heat coming off very strong, we'll go in with some oil. I'm using olive oil, but it's probably best to use some kind of neutral oil. And we'll go in with a good amount because there's a ton of vegetables. I'll also swirl the oil around the wok as well, just so that we can get some of that oil touching the sides. Right after that, we'll go in with the onions. The onions are sort of sizzling, but not too much, so I'm going to turn up the heat temporarily. Temperature control is such an important part of cooking, and I think it's something that a lot of people still don't really do themselves. It might be because they follow a recipe and it says to use this heat, but the thing is that every range is different. Every pot or pan is different, so controlling the heat is a skill on its own, and it takes time to really grasp. If you'd like to see a video on how I adjust the heat on different meals, let me know in the comments below. Give the onions about a minute to cook. This is optional, but you can add a little bit of chili flakes for some spice. Then I'll go in with the mushrooms. These mushrooms have a lot of water, so we're going to try to cook that water out. We'll add some salt to draw out the moisture, and continue to let it cook down. I'm not the best at tossing a wok, but I try my best not to spill anything. Let it cook for another couple minutes, and we'll add in our broccoli. Give it a mix by either tossing it or using a spatula. Then we'll add in soy sauce. I'll pour in maybe a couple tablespoons worth. Continue to stir it around. I'm adding in a little bit of sugar. It's very common in Asian cuisine to add in sugar. I think it's because it makes the food more addictive. Terrible, I know, but it does make it taste better. I'll season with a little bit of salt, give it a final mix, and then we can finally plate everything. And there is my broccoli stir fry. Such an easy way to get your vegetables in, and it's also perfect for meal prep. After I plated, I looked around, and I realized I totally forgot the garlic. That's okay, I'll just sprinkle a little bit of the garlic on top. Not too much, because we don't want to overpower it. And that's it, my broccoli stir fry. The recipe will be in the description below. Leave a like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.